Right, hello folks. I just wanted to pop on with a very kind of brief update. So I've not done anything, so this view's really annoying. Let me try and change that. Let me just turn that off. There we go. So I just wanted to pop on with a very quick, that's better. Very kind of, well, not very quick. I keep on saying that, it's a habit I've got into. Um, just wanted to pop back with another little random ramblings video just to kind of go over my plans for the channel and just give some mentions and dispatches and all that. So yeah, I've not really been doing anything for the past 2 weeks or so. Last week I was on leave, so I had family down, and I spent most of my time playing hide and seek and Tig with my niece and nephew who came down, and I'm absolutely knackered. I'm way too old to be playing Tigs at 38 now, so I've learned that last week, and as a result, I'm absolutely shattered now. And kind of, yeah, 2 weeks ago, I got hyper focused on the little videos, the quick vids, and managed to bash a couple of those out. So, being neurodivergent, I have kind of it's hardwired in me that I'll just get hyper focused on something and get kind of carried away and just do a shed load of things before burning out. And I'm kind of on the edge of burnout at the minute. And I've got to be, got to be aware that my full-time job comes first. So I just wanted to quickly hop on and just say how happy I am with the channel. How the channel's progressing. I've seen today that I've got 42 subscribers. Is it subscribers? I can't think of the word. But yeah, 42 people that follow the channel, which is just absolutely fantastic. I'm well chuffed with that, and the aim of this channel has always been on just creating content and sticking it on YouTube, and it's really quite nice to see that, even though the channel's only been going a relatively short time, I'm already nearly up to 50 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. I can't remember when I started doing this. I think it was earlier this year. Sorry, I'm going to have to check because that's going to annoy me otherwise. No, I started 10 months ago was my first video, and then I started posting 6 months ago. So I don't think I'm doing too bad. And I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that is subscribing to the channel. And I also want to give what I'm going to mention in dispatches. So this is like two specific mentions of people who have been absolutely fantastic in commenting, providing a really interesting, different perspective. So, my focus is always going to be on the ground forces, so the infantry and things like that. I don't have too much interest in the Air Force or the Navy, for example, and I always like to, in the work I do, focus on something specific and do it well, rather than scattergunning and I'd rather be a jack of all trades. No, I'd rather not be a jack of all trades, master of none, if that makes sense. I'd rather just focus on what I know best and kind of stick to that. So it's always really nice to get these different perspectives on various aspects of the things I say. And one of the first people to start commenting, and give some really amazing insights. My subscriber Philip Ballou. I apologise greatly for butchering your name if that's not right. And Phil's been giving some really asking some really amazing questions, providing some really interesting insights and kind of different perspectives on some of the things I've been posting, and it's really useful for me to to get that input because then I can start to think in a different way and start to see things from a different perspective. Because like I have, it's hardwired in me to focus on something specific and kind of focus on that without considering what's going on around it. So I do have a tendency to do that, like I say, because I'm neurodivergent. I can't bloody help it. And I also want to thank as well M. Watney as well, who's a recent subscriber, who's just been absolutely amazing with providing like source of information. So my research, I tend to shy away from using published works, but things like secondary sources and other published works are quite useful for getting an insight into like the broad picture. So he's recommended some really fantastic books looking at things like Operation Sea Lion from the German perspective, which is something I'm not looking at currently, but it's useful to have that source of information and other books as well, which I can check out to get a kind of broader picture. So that's absolutely fantastic. And he's also been again providing insights, providing references, which is extremely important, so I can go have a look at what he's commenting on, and also giving different perspectives as well. Again, which is it's extremely useful for me to get this back and forth and get different perspectives and ideas because it helps to turn me towards different things and different avenues of approach in terms of the research. So absolutely fantastic, you two. I really appreciate your comments. And as I say, if anyone else has any comments or information, then please do feel free to comment in the chat. So just wanted to quickly, right, let me fiddle around with these screens. Right, let's turn that off. Let's go back to, sorry, I'm not very good at this. Right, display capture. So I just wanted to move on to have a look at my plans for content. So obviously I'm going to continue with the little quick vids, but these are just going to be kind of spur of the moment, impulsive things where I just get kind of like quick burst of hyperfocus and get obsessed with a myth and find a bit of information and quickly bash out a video which dispels a myth or piece of information or something like that, provides a quick insight into a specific aspect of the national picture of the Home Forces. So one thing I'll just mention is this channel is just one of many things that I do. But I want to kind of just outline some of my plans. So I'm going to continue with the Invasion Threat series. I'm already up to early 1940, I think, but I want to cover early 1940 in terms of the invasion threats at that time and see how these evolved and changed by mid and late 1940. So that is quite an interesting period in itself. I'm trying to plan these videos ahead. So again, with being neurodivergent and potentially autistic, I find planning things extremely difficult. So I just generally do things as kind of spur of the moment. So a lot of my energy goes into, especially in terms of my full-time work, I have to plan everything in advance because the work I do is extremely detailed. It needs a lot of planning and preparation to do it right. So I, currently work on really big infrastructure project, and we have very tight deadlines to write rather large reports. So if I don't focus on that and have my things planned out in advance, things can go to crap, and I can start to miss deadlines. So in terms of my work, I have to spend a lot of energy planning things. I've got a massive board behind my screen here which has got all my deadlines on it, and I can refer to that. So I'm just currently, as recently been picked up as being autistic, or potentially autistic. I still haven't got the diagnosis just yet. I'm trying to work on strategies of mitigating some of the negative things I've had to deal with over the past 38 years or so in terms of like planning and being impulsive and all this stuff, and avoiding hyper-focusing on things that I don't need to hyper-focus on, for example. And that's where I want to try and do a very broad overview plan of the invasion threat, of the plans for this channel. So like I say, I want to then come into 949, look at the winter respite and seeing if that, see what impact that had on the invasion threat. So I know already looking at the various documents and war diaries and things that winter gave the Home Forces a significant respite and allowed them to focus more on training, for example. And then look at the new defences and defence types that were introduced in 1941 and potentially different defensive measures, and not defensive measures. I want to look at how the invasion threat changed. That's the focus of this. I'm getting ahead of myself there. Then look into 1942, whether the invasion threat changed with the Germans turning their focus onto Russia, for example. And then look at 1943, which is the period where the threat of immediate invasion was deemed over, and look into 43 as this as to whether there was any change in the invasion threat in that period. So that's my little kind of crappy little little plan for the invasion threat series and how I want that to draw out. So obviously that's a long burn thing. That's something I'm going to be working on for quite a while. So like I say, the YouTube channel is just one of the various things that I do online in terms of social media content, and it's just trying to find this balancing act. So spend a lot of my time trying to balance things out, the various aspects of what I do to hopefully get things done. Another series I want to do once I conclude the invasion threat series is start to look at the defence measures. So we're going to look at the invasion threats, and then we're going to look at the defensive measures that were taken in the UK to defend it. So again, this is to kind of break down the mythology surrounding for example, the stop line strategy, which everyone knows about, which was extremely temporary though. No one seems to really know that. It was only official strategy for like 2 months, and in some areas it continued into mid-1941, and after that ceased to exist. So I want to do a breakdown of the various defensive measures, looking at the units and how they were deployed in the UK for home defence. Look at Cromwell, which was the plan that superseded Julius Caesar, and then look at what superseded the Cromwell. I can't remember the name of it. What superseded Cromwell and how that was introduced in 1941 and implemented. And I can't remember the code word off the top of my head at the minute, and I can't. Well, I just haven't got the energy to go and have a look through the files to find it. But Cromwell was superseded by something that was I can't remember the exact words, but there was something like they changed the code words to stand to and something else, which invasion imminent or something like that, to make it so there was less ambiguity around what these code words mean, because there was a bit of a furore in September 1940 when the code word Cromwell was issued, which was meant to mean invasion potentially imminent, something like that, and a load of crap happened and they thought, right, well, let's just change it to something that you can't mistake what's going on, which was kept on into 941. So that's my basic plan for YouTube content in terms of the series I'm going to do. And like I say, I'm going to keep on doing the little quick vids as bits and pieces pop into mind. So I just wanted to kind of highlight as well that, again, as I've already mentioned, this channel is just one thing that I do. I do social media content on my website, you know, in terms of like the Norfolk research and the pillbox stuff and the recording methodology stuff. I also write guidance for archaeological recording methodology for the UK Second World War Heritage website. Then I do my Twitter and social media stuff on Facebook as well, and obviously the YouTube channel. So this is alongside, you know, having a full-time job, writing archaeological reports, which takes a lot of energy. I'm also outside of work. I'm a full-time carer, which takes a lot of time and energy as well. On top of that, I I also work with a group of volunteers in the Thetford area. We're going out and I'm recording Second World War pillbox in the area to update archaeological records with Norfolk Historic Environment Service. So I'm working with a little band of volunteers and they're really good. I'm training them up to show them how to record pillboxes, for example, so that information could be added to the local historic environment records. And in fact, let me just, in that point, you just want to point towards my ResearchGate page. So all the kind of reports that I write on wartime pillboxes, primarily in the Norfolk area, sometimes get to do a bit of consultancy outside the county, and I publish those, you know, as long as in terms of like my clients, whether they're as long as they're happy for me to do that. But all my like Norfolk pillbox reports I'm writing with my volunteers, they go on here and are free to access and reference and all that type of stuff. So I'm doing this alongside everything else, and like I say, I've got a full report to do on a pillbox in Dereham, so that's going to include analysis of the pillbox itself and landscape analysis and all that stuff. I've got full report to do of the Thetford pillbox, which we recently surveyed. I've got what else? So I've got another little board here of all my things, which are my broad things. I've got HER records to do for North Yorkshire. I've got a research paper to write up. So this is alongside all the other stuff. So yeah, it's just, I tend to go in peaks and troughs with this stuff where I get a massive like pang of energy and will burn myself out doing that, and then I'll move on to something else and lose interest and do something completely different for a couple of weeks and then come back to doing something else. And that's just the way my brain is hardwired. Also, alongside of this, outside of work, I have recently started trying out for a band, so that's going to be another thing I'm doing outside of work. So I recently got into playing blues guitar. So I've been playing guitar for like 20 years. I've played bass for over 20 years now. You can see there's a bass in the background. But yeah, recently I've started playing this really nice Telecaster, which I absolutely love, and that's got me into playing blues. And yeah, recently got into playing with a band, and I'm working on that at the minute, so that's another thing that I'm going to be doing alongside everything else. And I've also started getting an interest in doing target pistol shooting as well, which is something that, again, I have so many bloody hobbies because it's just the way my mind works, and I constantly flip between these. And as you know, I'm sure you understand, having a full-time job, being a full-time carer, and doing all these other things outside of this means that it takes me a lot of like energy and planning to do the things that I kind of want to do. So yeah, like I say, it's just been aware that, I sometimes don't have the time to do videos and put the effort into doing videos. So yeah, I'll just try. But I do want to try and keep content out on the YouTube channel just to kind of keep a steady stream of stuff coming out and all this. So yeah, after that's 15 minutes of me babbling on now, I just want to try and wrap this up. I thought I'd just do a little update video. I am going to continue trolling the East Yorkshire records for the defence of East Yorkshire. Keep on looking at the national picture through this channel, and then do my my Norfolk research as well. So those are my key areas of research at the minute, alongside all the other stuff I do. So content is generally on the channel is generally going to be quite sporadic. Sometimes I'll just get focused on something and bash a load of content and then burn myself out and want to, I don't know, play board games and have a bit of downtime after work and things like that. But yeah, I just want to finish again by just saying, thank you so much for everyone who's subscribed to the channel so far. It's massively cool. I hope the content's all right. The aim of the content is just to be as quick to the point, quick as possible, and just get the information out and provide the source of information, my references, rather than being all fancy and having fancy animations and all that stuff. And I always like to do, and I don't really want to edit videos. I just want to get the content out there. So I like the content. The content I'm doing is deliberately rough and ready, because if I lose focus, then I could end up recording a video and then just lose focus for a year and never editing it, for example, which is why I like to do these videos in one shot, one take, and get it all out there. And that's just the way I work and prefer to work. I don't want to end up with a really fancy channel which has like animations and professional overview, professional grade audio and all this stuff. It's just not my focus. But as long as the content's all right and everyone's happy and all that, I think that's good enough for me. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching. That's been me rambling on for 15 minutes now. Eventually I'll get back on with doing some more informational, something that's a bit more informative, so like the quick vids and things. I've got a couple of ideas, but I need to find the source of information so I can properly reference them. And yeah, alongside all the other pillboxy stuff and all the other archaeology type stuff that I do, like I say, content will come out as and when. But yeah, just thought I'd give a little update anyway, and thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me drivel on for 17 minutes now. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you guys later. Cheers.